taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I know I say it on every single video, but I really do appreciate all of the love, all of the feedback that those that actually have watched these videos over the past couple of weeks have provided me. It really does mean a lot that you take time out of your extremely busy day to watch 5 to 10 minutes of me talking about various topics within our mortgage industry. So thank you again. So what are we talking about today? Well, there's a word that's been thrown around quite often recently, and that's recession. So I want to talk about, a recession. What is a recession? And basically the impact that a recession has on mortgage interest rates. So the short snippet is that if there is a recession, and history tells us this, if there is a recession, it actually benefits our industry from a mortgage interest rate and pricing perspective. But let's kind of go back and unfold exactly how that comes about. So number one, what is a recession? I'm fairly confident there's a ton of people out there that are watching this or just don't really know exactly what a recession is. You've heard the word, you've heard of a depression, you've heard of all these things, but what exactly does a recession mean? Well, in its very simple form, and again, I do want to preface, I am no expert or anything like that, but in its very simple form, a recession is basically the opposite of expansion. So when you're talking about the economy, right, a recession is tied to the economy. It's basically the economy contracting, right? Instead of expanding, right, people are out there spending money, getting jobs, wages are increasing, like everyone's feeling really good. It's the exact opposite of that. So unemployment, right? Unemployment starts to creep up. Wages start to go down. People start to spend less money, right? Which I've talked about this in previous videos. Why are people spending less money? Because things just cost more, right? Inflation, things just cost more right now. So when all these things start to play out, then you start to talk about the R word. You start to talk about a recession. Now, recessions are very, very common. If you look at, I think the U.S. has been tracking recessions for hundreds and hundreds of years. Over the past, I want to say 30 years, we've had 4 major recessions. So they are common. It's kind of like a reset of the economy. So that's basically what a recession is. So right now, there's a lot of experts out there saying that we are going to an impending recession. Now, how deep and how long is that recession going to be is still very much up for debate. But I'm going to approach this conversation, this topic, is that a recession is going to happen eventually. However, how does that impact our industry, specifically talking about mortgage interest rates? Well, it's no surprise over the past, let's say, 6+ months, interest rates and pricing has gotten very, very bad for various reasons that I'm not going to get into. However, if you've been paying attention over the past couple of weeks, rates have actually started to dip down a little bit. And a lot of experts are saying, well, that's because the market is just reacting to the idea that there is going to be a recession. So you may ask yourself, well, Josh, if there's a recession, the economy's in the hole, people aren't feeling good, they're losing jobs, how are mortgage interest rates going to decrease? Well, let's take a little step further. Interest rates are tied to something called a Treasury bond, or more specifically, the 10-year Treasury bond. So history tells us that the 10-year Treasury bond, however it's acting, whether it's going up or going down in terms of pricing, interest rates are tied to that. So for example, the Treasury bond over the past 6 months has been steadily creeping up. So that's why mortgage interest rates and pricing has steadily been increasing as well. What affects that 10-year Treasury bond? Well, if we're talking about a recession, right, people are spending less money, people start to freak out a little bit. So when you approach it from an investor standpoint, you're really not going to be that crazy with your investments. You're going to be very risk averse. You're going to want to play the safe bet. Well, a very safe bet for these investors is a Treasury, which another word for Treasury is just a government bond. It's actually one of the safest investments out there. So when things are getting crazy, you start to talk about a recession, all these investors then start buying these bonds. When you start buying the bonds, guess what that does? It pushes the price down. Well, I just talked about when the price of these bonds go down, guess what happens? Interest rates start to go down. So that's the whole idea as to why a pending recession is actually going to benefit our industry from a mortgage interest rate and pricing standpoint. And when interest rates go down, guess what that does to consumers? Well, it kind of nudges them to go out there and start buying and selling and refinancing and things like that. So what that actually ends up doing is sparking up the economy a little bit. So it's all tied together. Now, I don't want to, recessions are very serious, right? I'm speaking from a mortgage professional in my industry, but I understand that recessions affect a lot of people and families and things like that. But the perspective that I'm speaking from, it really does benefit us. And in the long term, it actually ends up benefiting the economy as well. So quick little recap. Recession is pending. During a recession, interest rates start to get a little bit better for our industry. The reason why is because investors start to buy the 10-year and all 3-year and 5-year Treasury bonds, which pushes the price down. Mortgage interest rates are tied to that specific investment, so interest rates start to drop down, and then it starts to trigger some refinancing and some really good stuff for our economy. So I hope that helps. I hope everyone is still out there grinding it out. Like I said, interest rates have gotten a little bit better over the past couple of weeks, so I hope you're taking advantage of that. Please still get out there, talk to realtors, talk to prospective clients, share information like this with them, because knowledge is power. The more that you know, the more prepared you are for whatever is about to come. And if you would like to discuss this or anything further, I would be more than happy to connect. So please feel free to reach out, and I hope everyone has a fantastic day.